all start shaking. The earth was quaking, my mind was aching, and we were making it. You shook me all night long. Well, honey, you shook me all night long. Working double time on the seduction line. She was one of a kind, just mine, all mine. Wanted no applause, just another course. Made a meal out of me and come back for more. Had to cool me down to take another round. Now I'm back in the ring to take a swing. Walls were shaking, the earth was quaking, my mind was aching, and we were making it. You shook me all night long. Yeah, honey, you shook me all night long. Well, honey, you shook me all night long. Yeah, honey, you shook me all night long. Honey, you shook me all night long. Yeah, honey, you shook me all night long. Yeah, you shook me. Yeah, you shook me.
Welcome to Chuckles Crypt. That was Big and Rich. You shook me all night long. That's a little compare and contrast that we're going to be doing tonight. We did it before, probably towards the beginning of Chuckles Crypt's creation. We're going to play the remake, and at the end of the show, we're going to play not the end of the show. Or did you take it off? Yeah, you did.
No, I did not take anything off, Chuckles. I told you what 5 songs you had picked.
Yet Nurse Misery's here. I guess we're not going to be doing the compare and contrast.
I was looking forward to that.
Because it was up there.
It wasn't in the music files you gave me.
It was.
No. Well, during the break, we'll go back and we'll prove this point.
But we were going to do that, but we guess we're not going to
I
now.
questioned you.
Well, a lot of stuff I've learned. Well, welcome back, Nurse Misery. Welcome back, the ghost of George Garner. Still absent. I think he's hunting around in graveyards right now. And Tony Jones, of course, in the studio with us.
Big and rich, just like us.
Yeah, Big and Rich. I like that group. I know they're a country band, but they come across more rock and roll than country. One of my favorites. I learned a valuable lesson this weekend, and I guess you listeners out there should note this valuable lesson as well. But before we get to that, let's say a little happy belated birthday to Edgar Allan Poe, whose birthday was the Saturday that just passed.
Yeah.
So happy belated birthday to him. And we'll get back to that lessons I've learned. We just came off a show called Freak Fest. The first lesson I learned was just because it's Freak Fest doesn't mean every band on there is going to be great. I mean, it had 3 or 4 good bands, but there were a couple there that were definitely part of the freak and not the fest part.
Especially a show that long. That show started at 11 o'clock in the afternoon and went till midnight, so how are you going to get all good bands in that time frame? I
didn't even show up at 11 o'clock. I showed up towards the middle of it, and there still was a couple bands. And I also, this isn't a new thing I learned, but it's definitely a lesson learned. Never, ever, listeners, volunteer for anything.
Not on live stage.
No. If you have do your research. If you have someone that looks like the lead singer of Green Jelly, ask for volunteers on stage. Do yourself a favor. Say no.
Go in the other direction.
That's like raising your hand at a Rocky Horror Picture Show. You don't do it.
It definitely was like a Rocky Horror Picture Show, especially for some of those poor petite young ladies that were in that pit. I mean, they put the mask on, they danced to the first song. I don't think they knew what was coming up. And then all of a sudden, they're inside of a mosh pit, a massive mosh pit on top of that, and it was vicious. So lesson learned, don't volunteer at a Green Jelly concert for anything.
Ever.
So stay up towards the top and enjoy the show.
And
That's
also,
what I did.
I mean, I wouldn't consider myself to be a huge germaphobe, but Bill scours the country and travels all over with those masks. And someone different is wearing those masks every night of the week. Someone different from a rock and roll club is wearing those masks every night of the week. Can you
God
say
knows.
pink eye waiting to happen?
Bleeding and sweating inside of those things.
All the herpes and cold sores you could ask for.
So this weekend's or this episode is about the wholesome Archies.
Did we just go from herpes to
We
Archie?
did. And we're going to be digging into deep. The Archies aren't all wholesome. I mean, when you think of the Archies, the first thing you think of is school problems, dating problems. But I dug deep into some weird Archie crossovers. If you didn't know who created the Archies, it was, well, first of all, it was published by John L. Goldwater. The artist was Bob Montana, and the writer was Vic Boom. Now, the founders was Marcy Konya, Louis Silber, I can't say the last name, we'll just say Silberlechty, and John L. Goldwater. They started this, the Archies started back in 1939, over 79 years ago,
Wow.
in not in a comic, in an L. Gen magazine. Don't get this confused because I'm about to tell you that the comic book started in 1940, and the first comic appearance for the Archies was called a Pep Comic number 22. So don't get that confused with when they first came out, which is MLJ, and when they were released in comic books, which are 2 different years.
Kind of like how the Simpsons featured on the Tracy Morgan show first. They had to come from somewhere and became popular enough to fly solo.
Now, Mr. Jones, I know you're a fan of the Archies.
Big time, yeah.
Yeah, so this show's got to be showing something to you right here. Now, when you think of the Archies, what do you think of?
I still think of that old, I always thought it was an 80s cartoon that was on CBS Sunday mornings, but I think it was the 60s cartoons, and then when we were kids, they were like re-showing them at that point.
Oh, we'll get to that. We got a whole bunch of like Archie like memorabilia and information that's going to fill your brain full of Archie goodness.
I feel like when I was a kid, the Archie comics were like at a lower price point because I remember like having the extra money to buy them, or my parents would buy them because they were 50 cents cheaper or 99 cents cheaper than like all the superhero comics.
Yeah, they weren't as popular as the superheroes. I mean, they were popular, but they weren't up there with the Batman and the Supermans of the comic worlds. I mean, they don't get me wrong, they still got a large fan following, myself included. I'm not like majorly where I have to go buy the first Archie's comic that comes out, but if I see an Archie's comic in a box lot, I usually pick it up.
Didn't the Archie comics tend to be at grocery stores and the checkout lines too? Because I remember as a kid that was like the place you'd always see them, so it was easily accessible.
A wholesome comic book. I mean, of course, it's going to be where the kids can grab it. I mean, it
was always next to the candy or something.
But
and the National Enquirer.
We will get to a point where you're going to look at me strange because not all the Archie's comic books were wholesome and friendly. And definitely in recent times it has gone to that extreme. But right now we're going to go down to some music again. We're going to go down to Alice Cooper's $1 Billion Baby here on Chuckles Crypt, Rhode
$1 billion
I'm so scared your little head will come off in my hands.
Smokes.
Smoking's bad for you, you know.
No, it's not. Try it.
Whoa, little bro. That smoke will make you choke.
It doesn't make me go.
Smoking is for dumbbots. It's bad for your health, and it stains your teeth. So don't be a fool. Smoke.
Hey, and what do you know? The ghost of George Garner has appeared.
He has materialized
Yeah,
before our very eyes.
He must have been done with his late night grave digging, or maybe he's just taking a pause from it. Welcome, George Garner.
Welcome.
The table of the geeks is complete. George Garner, Nurse Misery, Chuckles the Klown. This is like old times, only new.
I normally wouldn't put myself in the category, but with the topic tonight, I definitely fall into it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And George, if you didn't know, we're talking about the Archies.
A subject which I have some knowledge of.
Good, because you're going to have to take some of the older ones in a little bit, because I got the newer ones to disturb you a little bit, because these aren't your ever so wholesome Archie comic books that we're used to.
Well, Veronica was never completely wholesome.
No, definitely not. Nope. Before we get into that, though, I had the honor and the privilege of seeing Seth Carney's last hardcore performance, and it was hardcore.
And we had it from a great spot where we didn't have to worry about getting blood on ourselves.
Yeah, we were up in the balcony. I was waiting and hoping for that girl next to me to pass out and fall over the balcony. She was
part of the show, folks.
Yeah, she was getting all woozy and everything and trying to hide herself against her boyfriend, and I'm just like, nah, I'm used to this. Whatever's happening is happening. The only thing I never saw him perform was the motorized drill that he put up his nose.
Yeah, we've seen the old school hand.
Yeah, and I guess he ended up screwing himself up pretty bad. Ended up having some bleeding inside of his navel cavity that didn't stop. But congratulations, Seth. We will miss you in the hardcore world, and we will still be catching you at King Richard's Fair, hopefully when the tickets go down to affordability.
That never happens. But there's always coupons.
They got to go down sometime. It just keeps going up and up and up. It's just like they're definitely exterminating the folks that can't afford to go there, that are middle class or under.
Well, now, is the size of the crowds going down, or is it just a bunch of rich
No, it's not going down.
snobs that are taking the place of the people that would really like to be there?
That's basically what it is.
Or kind of like some cons, it's people that only leave the house once a year, so they've saved up a year's worth of money.
They're usually saved up because the shopping spots are always filled and people are dropping large sums.
Yeah, and there is the rich snobs there, too, with the expensive outfits and the swords and whatnot.
Armor.
Yeah, armor.
And half of those are like the people that go that one time and they keep adding to their ensemble.
But we're going back to the Archies, and if you guys didn't hear me before, we gave out the times that they came around. I'm not going to repeat myself because you can catch this episode on Rhode-IslandFreeRadio.org. So, George, you missed it. You're going to have to go back and listen to it.
Indeed, I will.
Now, the Archies themselves didn't get their own cover title until number 114 of this Pep Comics, and then they ended up getting their very own spin-off, where before they were kind of like a flash in the pan for the Pep Comics and for the earlier magazines. They were just little blurps.
Good. What was the name of the Pep Comics kind of like Superman featured in Action Comics. We're talking.
Yeah, I think
So,
when I looked it up, it was just called Pep Comic. PEP and COMIC. Pep
you said
Comic.
It was featured in MLJ.
MLJ, yep, MLJ magazines. It was featured.
Okay,
inside of that.
So Pep Comics was the title of the comic,
right?
Okay,
so that was what they were featured inside of. Now they got their own reboot come 2015, July 2015, with their number one, and this time around, it's theirs. They're not tied into anything. The Archies are on their own. And the Archies have some very unique comics that have been coming out within. It's not
Archie's grown up.
Yeah, it's definitely not the wholesome Archies that we're used to. It's not the Jughead going to the restaurant complaining about a bully and eating a hamburger.
Cheeseburgers.
Yeah, it's not that. I mean, it's definitely weird, and we're going to start talking about some of these weird ones because I never knew some of these existed until looking this up. Barack Obama and Sarah Palin meet the Archies.
What?
Yes, Barack Obama and Sarah Palin meets the Archies. And that's episode, if you guys are looking to find it, that is book number 616 and 617. Wow. So there was a two-part special.
Okay, but now these are one-offs, or are they part of the actual series?
These ones were part of the actual series. I do have some actual one-offs as well, but that was part of the series.
They incorporated that into the storyline. That has to be an interesting plot.
Yeah.
I'd like to read the one before and after just to see the cause and effect.
I told you, wholesome wasn't there. When you have Sarah Palin inside your comic book, there's nothing wholesome about that.
No caribou is safe when she's holding a rifle.
And no freaking Archie Bunker. No, Archie is safe from that. Archie Bunker's not safe either, even if he is in the grave. This one I almost threw up in my mouth just thinking about this. Edward Cullen from the Twilight series guest starred in the Archies.
Now, this sounds to me, not having checked these out, okay, just based on what you're saying, this sounds more like a mockery of the Archies rather than a revival of the Archies. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah,
in other words,
I know, but it was an actual Archie book. If you guys are looking for it, which I would not, it's number 146, and I definitely would not seek that out.
Be from the new releases from 2015.
That'd be from the new releases. I definitely would not seek that one, unless you like puking in your mouth thinking about Twilight. I can't believe I said that twice already.
Maybe they make fun of him for glittering.
I don't think so. I think
do you have to talk about glittering too?
Yeah. You just come back and you just talk
stop.
about yeah.
Speaking about that, I won't say it.
The third one is kind of cool, and it's its own little spin-off. It's Tiny Teen Titans meets the little Archies and his pals. So it's kind of like the Teen Titans children meet the Archie's children.
Archie's as children or
Yep.
Archie's children?
Yep, Archie's as children and everything. So that one seems like it's pretty good. I'm going to keep my eye out for that series to see if I can pick that up. Number 4, Sabrina the Teenage Witch in the Afterlife with Archie's, number 6. It's not the first time Sabrina the Teenage Witch has been in the Archie's comic series, but
no.
It's the first time she was in this one, the Afterlife series, which that's a whole nother set right there. If you guys have not read the Archie's Afterlife series, you are missing out. I mean, that is... I know you're not going to like it, George, because it has zombies inside of it, and you're not a big zombie
Is it only
fan.
zombies, or is it just that's just an element of it?
It's an element of it. I don't want to ruin it for you,
Right.
just in case you want to get the books up and read it. It is pretty good. This one you're going to love, and you'll know why in a second.
Oh my, I'm reading it off your paper.
I can't believe I'm saying this. Archie meets Kiss.
I was just going to ask you. That seems like an inevitable issue.
Yep, it happened, and it was number 627. So if you want to find that.
Now, does Gene Simmons use his tongue on Betty or Veronica?
I don't know. I think he
Maybe
uses
both.
on...
Or Archie?
I think he uses it on Jughead to get himself a free burger. That one right there was... that's not as bad as the Twilight one, but it was still pretty bad.
Was the Kiss one from the old series or the
No,
new series?
these are all new series ones.
Oh.
This one I want to find, too. Archie at Crystal Lake. It's Archie meets Jason. And this is the number of the book, folks. I don't make this up. The number of the book is 666.
That's awesome.
Now that's the first. Now that's the first one that I can say to myself. Now that's That's a cool crossover.
Yeah, I got to find that one. There's a lot of these in here that I don't own, and now they've made it themselves to my list when I'm employed again for searching them out.
It's getting added to your birthday list.
Oh no, this is added to my when I'm working again to search them out, because it's not the same when you buy them on. When you buy them on eBay, it kind of ruins it. It's not like hunting a comic book down.
No, it's true. That's why I've gotten rid of most of my. When I moved, well, not now. Now I have a house, but when I moved from a house to an apartment before I moved to a house, I got rid of most of my collections of everything. And it really didn't bother me too much, because now it's like you can find anything you want at any time online.
Yeah,
like you said, I understand exactly what you're saying.
it's
It's
not
not
fun.
as much fun.
Right.
It really isn't.
It's better to go to like a yard sale or something and find these books, or go to a comic stand and find them tucked in between the 50 cents book that you're like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the best way, the best feeling to get comics for myself. I mean, if I am dying to read a book that I haven't been able to find,
You send me on the hunt.
yeah, or I will last minute result to eBay. But that's like, I've been looking for this book for 8 years and I give up.
Right.
And that's to the point where I'm going on eBay and I'm trying to find it. And usually those are the books that cost an arm.
Right.
and
It's
a
not
leg.
even worth it going on eBay to find it when
Yeah.
you can't find it in 8 years. Right.
Now, this one you're going to like, Nurse Misery. Archie's Meet George Takei.
That has to be amazing.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to get any, and they're in the Star Trek outfits. They don't call it a Star Trek crossover, but they're wearing Star Trek outfits on the cover of the book.
Oh,
Just
so it's
not with the-
incorporated.
yeah.
So maybe they meet him at a Comic-Con or something to that effect.
This one's a puke one too. I can't believe it. There's a couple puke ones in here that I would probably use for kindling. Archie's Meet Glee, number 641. See, I told you.
We even got an exclamation from our otherwise.
Yeah, he didn't like that one. You're going to have to use that for toilet paper.
have to use it as a rolling paper.
This one I like, and I have to find this series. Archie's Meets the Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
That's awesome. That's right up there with the Jason for me.
Maybe. Yeah. For you, you're a Turtles fan.
Yeah, I'm a diehard Turtles fan, so I have to find that. This one might be towards the obscure side. Archie's Meets the Punisher.
Why?
I have that in my collection.
You do?
Yeah.
Is it any good?
It's decent, yeah.
Well, I didn't believe. Someone has it. Let's see. This is Archie's and the Friends Halloween special, and I don't know why they put this on as a Halloween special, but they did. Meets Sonic the Hedgehog.
How is that a Halloween special?
I don't know. I mean, they could have like put in there like meets freaking Freddy Krueger.
I don't know. See, now, see, to me, now, just as far as we've gotten, it just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I don't. I would have rather seen an Archie's comic like updated, rebooted, whatever you want to call it, but had a storyline involving, those original characters and what would you do with them now and what would they do today. Kind of like when they updated the Brady Bunch in I think it was the 80s.
Yeah.
Remember? And the Brady Bunch as the Brady Bunch trying to function in the current world.
Yeah, like they had the same wholesome
Right.
mentality.
And the rest of the world changed without them.
We will get to that in a second because there is something that runs around that mindset that you're thinking about, and it's not the books. Number 12, Archie versus Predator, which I own this series, and it is phenomenal, and it is hilarious at the same time.
So what is that, like a little 4-part or 6-part
series?
Seeing
the Archie characters getting dismantled by the Predator is something that it's glorious. And right now, Robert Rood's music goes in, glorious. Archie's After Death. I have Afterlife. If I haven't said enough about that series, I own a couple of that as well. Really, really good. So the Afterlife with the Archies, if you guys get the chance to read that, I full-heartedly put that there. The last one I put on here is Life with Archie's Death of Archie. So
what is that? How the group would function without him kind of deal?
So that was that one. We're going to go down to some music, and stay tuned because we got some public announcements that are just as wholesome as the Archies, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy this. We're going down to Black Sabbath's Die Young, Dio's Black Sabbath, just for you, George.
I love it.
Can't you see the writing in the air? Die young, gonna die young. Someone stopped the fear.
I'm Captain Lou Albano talking to you about drugs. Kids, don't be afraid to say no. Anyone that asks you to use drugs is not your friend. Drugs can and will kill. Remember, don't be afraid to turn to your priest, your rabbi, your minister, your moms, your dads, your teachers, because drugs can kill. And if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die.
Holy crap.
That was Captain Lou Albano telling you if you do
Now
drugs.
that's a PSA.
You go to hell and you're going to die. Only Captain
Did he
Lou.
say go to hell before you die? Is that what he said?
Yeah. Rest his soul, Captain Lou. Thank you for that public service announcement. If you haven't been listening, shame on you. We've been going over the Archies, and I did miss 2 obscure Archie titles. It was on the next page. My bad. I didn't put them all in the same one. Number 15, Archies and the Super Teens. It's kind of like the Archies superheroes. And the last one, number 16, Gotham City meets Riverdale. And that was kind of cool. It has Harley and Poison Ivy in there meeting Veronica and Betty.
Oh, my.
So that's a cool series right there. Now, the Archies, they touch everything in pop culture. I was just informed I missed a song for the Archies on my playlist. And that's okay because we don't need it.
Well, then, tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, you don't need it. That's a critical point in the Archies evolution.
Well, maybe in Archies 3.5 we'll bring it on.
There was actually a band called the Archies.
Well, see, you're filling me full of stuff I don't know.
Well, that's my purpose here.
Good thing you showed up and the ghost didn't stay there, because I would have been like...
Well, this is paying you back for bringing up that word that begins with a T and ends with a T.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That does the G thing.
Yeah, I'm very sorry about that. But
you could have left that off the list.
No, I couldn't have. It's one of those things where it had to be said. Now, Archie's has had a run in video games as well. I didn't know that. I didn't know there was Archie video games. One of them was called Archie Riverdale Run. It looks like it's a Grand Theft Auto version of Archie's. I don't know what series or system it's on. I'm pretty sure it's only a PC exclusive because I couldn't find if it was for Xbox or anything. So, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's PC.
Was it like a homemade kind of game, or
no,
was that a
no, it's an
real
actual
release?
game. Yep. Archie's Weird Mysteries Virtual Evil. Again, I'm not sure what console that was on. Probably PC as well. And this one you guys can pick up. So, George, if you really want to play your Archie's video games, Archie and Betty or Veronica on your iPhone or iPad, Archie's board game. So that's one you can download yourself. And speaking about that, the Archies have their own board game. So it says board game, and then I put geek.
Oh, well, that's appropriate.
Sometimes when I'm writing down this stuff, I don't know why I'm writing it. What's there.
Yeah.
If you're implying that one would need to be a geek to play the Archie's board game, some things do go without saying.
Yeah.
There is something called stating the obvious.
Now,
we do have a square table here at the studio. We could play that. We could set up that board game and play it.
I thought you were going to say we're a square table because we're a bunch of squares.
No, I'm just looking. This would be a perfect gaming table.
Yeah,
it's
it would
just
be.
the right size.
Isn't that, if certain people stop leaning on it, we'll have a gaming table.
Hey.
Not you guys. We're not going to go there.
We could bring a full dungeon in here.
Yeah, we can bring our magic cards in, and then Tony can kick them over like I was in high school again.
You can bring your pile of Masianites and set up your little dragon towers and your mountains.
He can step on them and kick them across the room.
Tony could be the giant orc.
Yeah. And call me a nerd at the same time. Yeah, well, that sounds about right. Now, the Archies also got into the food business. I didn't know this as well, that the Archies had their own restaurant. It came out in 1972. It was an own brand. It was kind of like a McDonald's. It didn't last very long. And, of course, Jughead was one of the major characters that was on the restaurant's menu board and everything.
Were there multiple franchises of this, or was it a one-shop kind of deal?
From what I read, there was multiple franchises of this. Not everywhere in the United States, but there was enough where it was franchised. Didn't last long. They also have appeared in Bazooka Bubblegum, which if you guys haven't read an Archie comic in Bazooka Bubblegum,
it's not.
You haven't
special.
lived. It's definitely one of those things where you definitely. It was our generation, George's generation. Now they don't even put the comics on the inside of the gum anymore.
No, it doesn't even taste like Bazooka Bubblegum anymore either.
It's chemicals. That's what it is.
No, it used to be chemicals. Now it's less chemicals. I think that's the problem.
Maybe it is.
They lightened up on the unmentionables.
Yeah.
Yeah, things not to interrupt you, Chuckles, but things that used to be, a rule of thumb is that things that used to be bright pink and edible back in the 70s and early 80s, they're pale pink now. They just don't put enough of whatever belonged in there anymore.
Well, they don't put real sugar and stuff anymore. They put all aspartame and freaking whatever it is inside of candy.
I don't think there was anything real in those. Like, I'm thinking of, like you said, Bazooka Bubblegum, right? Then we had Snowballs. Remember?
Yeah, those are gross.
Right,
yeah.
but remember the nice bright pink and the thick candy shell of those original Snowballs?
Yep. Now they're like this pasty.
Now they're like
pale.
Exactly. They're like cupcakes now or something like that.
It tasted like you were eating cat vomit.
Now you're talking about the old Snowballs?
Period.
Those things.
He doesn't like marshmallows.
Those things are gross.
I don't worry. There was no real marshmallow in those.
Yeah, it was cat vomit. Like I said, a cat sat there puking on these things, and they put sprinkles around.
This cat's paying off.
You are criticizing the food that I.
See, I like
them.
As
a young person, I grew up eating Snowballs.
Well, I grew up eating Twinkies, but say those are made in Mexico now. So
those
even
don't
the water,
taste the same.
It doesn't taste the same.
Well, no.
But
Twinkie laxatives.
Yeah, definitely are. All the different flavors of Twinkies now.
Those peppermint ones were vile.
That's just like all the different flavors of Peeps.
That's just as bad.
They're really going overboard.
No, natural Twinkie, natural yellow sponge cake is a Twinkie. Yellow is a Peep. It's anything else? No.
Yeah. Well, they say that a Twinkie will survive a nuclear blast. However, we think that those pink marshmallow pom-pom things will probably be the ones that survive the nuclear blast.
Well, they've exposed, just like Peeps, they've exposed Peeps to nuclear radiation too, and they survived. They were still recognizable as Peeps. Seriously,
that's amazing.
Yeah, steel, wood, all this other stuff they put in the test vaporized,
but somehow
and
the
melted.
Chemical composition of
Peeps,
a Peep.
They
survived.
said the Peeps were damaged. The final scientific verdict was the Peeps were damaged, but they were still recognizable as Peeps.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man, this is messed up. Before we go down to another music short, we also want to mention the fact that the Archies were in the ever so popular Cracker Jack boxes. They had Archie pins, a little Archie tattoos, you name it. They were inside there as well. So they hit the market as far as Americana foods and everything that they were stuck in, wholesome Americana foods.
Now you get Cracker Jacks and you get a sticker and a QR code.
Yeah. You're lucky if you get a sticker. They might forget to put those in there. Your prize is actually having Cracker Jacks in there.
It's it's going to be some form of a square piece of paper.
Yeah.
That says something on it.
Sometimes it's a spit tattoo.
You might as well eat it. Mixed in with the Cracker Jacks, it's going to taste the same anyways.
I gotta say though that having eaten, just like I grew up eating Snowballs very frequently, pink ones, not white ones, pink ones. I thrived on Cracker Jacks too, out of the box. And I gotta say, Cracker Jacks, if you eat them today, they're pretty close. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the few foods.
They didn't change it much.
They haven't messed with it much.
Original recipe.
Like their caramel flavor, they didn't change it. Maybe they just did it simple and cheap enough. They didn't have to.
I don't know. They're close. I mean, they really are. I mean, I think maybe they put a little less goop on the peanuts, or they make them grow the peanuts in real soil
just
now.
Put less in the box.
Make it very wholesome now. We got to make everything so it's healthy. Damn you!
Yeah, the freaking Cookie Monster eats vegetables now. Did you know that?
He's back to eating cookies because there was that whole
cookies?
protest when he became the salad monster temporarily.
Yeah, but he eats
cookies
now
in
moderation. He doesn't pound them down like he used to. He doesn't take like 5 or 6 and start shoving them in.
Right, and the crumbs fly in it.
Yeah, he's in moderation now. He's teaching
usually
the kids.
there's one great big plate-sized cookie that he nibbles and goes everywhere. The
big cookies.
Joys of a toddler, like you get to see it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, but I'm glad they straightened that out at least to some extent.
Sounds like the Cookie Monster's been smoking doobies.
You know, you just
Maybe he
brought
does
me up to
edibles
this
now.
song perfectly that we're going to go into right now. Because normally the original version of Nirvana's song here, definitely he smoked some doobies to sing it. But the remake, Weird Al's Smells Like Nirvana, probably not.
What is this song all about? Can't figure any lyrics out. How do the words to it go? I wish you'd tell me, I don't know.
Now I'm mumbling and I'm screaming and I don't know what I'm singing. Crank the volume, ears are bleeding. I still don't know what I'm singing. We're so loud and incoherent. Boy, this oughta fuck your parents.
It's unintelligible. I just can't get it through my skull. It's hard to bark another vowels with all these marbles in my
Well, we don't sound like Madonna. Here we are now. We're Nirvana. Sing distinctly. We don't wanna buy our album. We're Nirvana. A garage band from Seattle. Well, it sure beats raising cattle. Yeah.
And I forgot the next verse. Oh well, I guess it pays to rehearse the lyric sheets. So hard to find. What are the words? Oh, never mind.
Well, I'm yelling and we're playing, but I don't know what I'm saying. What's the message I'm conveying? Can you tell me what I'm saying? So if you got some idea, didn't think so, well, I'll see ya. Sayonara, 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 yada, yada, yada,
Hey kids, tired of getting pushed around on the playground? Tired of getting your snack pack stolen? Don't want this to be you? Then take action. Don't waste time talking to parents or teachers, because that will only lead to continued beatings and torture. Instead, pay a 17-year-old to be your bodyguard, because 17-year-olds don't get jail time for beating up a minor. Remember, kids, believe in your dream.
It's true.
Only on Chuckles Crypt where you get these public service announcements, and I tried hard to find these. I really dug deep for you guys for this. And we're getting close to the end of the mark, so we're going to wrap things up a little quickly with the Archies, and of course we have coming up next. We'll talk about the next show. So we're going down, and we're going to be talking very quickly about the Archies movies. Yep, they had their own movies as well. Some of them cartoons, some of them live action. So they have Archie and the Riverdale back again, and that was 1990. You have Archies and Jugmen, and you have Archies and the Weird Mysteries, which I think that would go with the Weird Mysteries video game, and that one was a cartoon.
Sounds very Scooby-Doo-ish.
Yeah.
Did the Archies ever meet Scooby-Doo? That seems more like a natural.
We got to look that up. I didn't find that.
Yeah, when you were doing the crossovers, I was waiting for you
but
to
I'm
say
pretty
that.
sure, like, I would think that, yes, they did.
I would hope so.
Let's go down to the cartoons really shortly, and then we'll talk a little bit what you wanted to know about. Cartoons, the Archie show, produced by Filmation in 1968, and then the new Archies on season September 12th, 1987. That was the one you were talking about, Mr. Jones, to December 12th, 1987. Not very long.
Yeah.
And U.S. of Archie, September 7th, 1974. To 1976, and that was also made by Filmation, and they were grabbing a hold of the bicentennial and kind of grab it onto that, so they would ride the coattails, and it lasted a long time. Now you were talking about a couple of segues back about the Archies in real life situations, and it's happened.
Okay,
they have taken the Archies and they've made a live-action television show called Riverdale.
Yeah.
And it is the Archies, all the names and everything. What would happen with them in the modern-day life now?
Okay.
And it's weird because there's murder inside this. There's incest. There's pregnancy. I mean, there's everything inside this that would not be in an Archie's comic book.
But it's everything that's happening present day in
yes, and so they
life
did.
in high school.
They did bring
and
the
stuff.
Archies to.
And when was this?
It just came out, I think, like last year.
Yeah, season 2
It's on now.
is currently airing, I believe.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's not the greatest television show. It's kind of like 90210 with murder.
Okay.
So
I liked it because I have less of an attachment to Archie. Like, I didn't read the comic books. Like, I knew the characters, but I never really read the books.
Shame on you.
And saw the cartoons and stuff, but didn't. I wasn't
book nerd
as
like you have never
favorite.
read the Archies.
Nope, I just never happened to have an Archie book in my hands.
You've never read Josie and the Pussycats? I mean,
Like, I knew of them and the cartoons.
That
and
was a
stuff.
good cartoon.
yeah, and they
So I
mixed
knew,
over
like,
a
the
lot
songs
with the
and
Archies.
everything.
And what was even better than Josie and the Pussycats was Josie and the Pussycats in outer space.
Oh yeah, that was good. We could
Kid,
do-
that's one of the few cartoons that I would get up on a Saturday morning to watch.
We'll have to down the road do a whole segue for Josie and the Pussycats. I'm sure we can.
Because was that a spin-off of the Archies, Josie?
Yeah.
Or it was, right?
They're in the Riverdale TV show.
Yeah, they are.
No, but I mean, but way back
Yeah.
in the history though, Josie
that where
was
they came from?
in the Archie Riverdale universe. That's what I think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we've gone over everything Archie's related, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. And you're going to search some of these books out to read them, or maybe some of the games and play them, or get the Archie's board game, and we can sit down at Rhode Island Free Radio and we can play it together. So that's that. Coming up
There's
next,
one that you didn't mention that I couldn't believe, which is Archie's Meets the Ramones.
I didn't mention that one.
I ran out like a nerd to my local comic book shop. I actually got there before the comic book owner and was waiting in the parking lot for him to open up the joint so I could get that first edition.
I'm
That is
sure
impressive.
there are plenty other crossovers that
This
just
might
haven't
be the first time ever, because Chuckles, you're a prepared guy when
Yeah.
it comes to your shows. This might be the first time ever, and Tony and I can congratulate ourselves that we are more knowledgeable about a subject which you brought to the table.
Well, there you go. that's why I have you here.
It may never happen again.
No.
But
especially when our next subject comes up, which next time we're in the booth, Chuckles Crypt goes back to 1993.
Ooh,
yeah.
All things Nightmare Before Christmas.
All things 1993.
That was 93?
It
Wow.
was.
So
holy cow.
we will be going back to some classic hip hop.
I feel like I'm going to be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, well, you probably will be. So
well, as long as you're not gonna dig up any more of that white hip hop, are you?
Have I done that since the first time?
No, but I remember.
Yeah, I know you do.
Scarred
That
George.
traumatized me. My show was the home of all things horror, but not that.
Hey, there's
the difference between horror and horrible.
There's nothing horrible about MC Hammer and His Misery.
There is about Vanilla Ice.
I still like Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go.
We all have to wear Jenko jeans.
I love those pants.
So we're going to wrap things up. We're going to go down to, one of my all-time favorite rock and roll stars. We're going to wrap up Chuckles Crypt, Rhode Island Free Radio, with Elvis, Viva Las Vegas. Cool night to everybody out there, and we'll catch you later.
Bright light city, gonna set my soul, gonna set my soul on fire. Got a whole lot of money that's ready to burn, so get those stakes up higher. There's 1,000 pretty women waiting out there. They're all living, the devil may care, and I'm just a devil with love to spare. So viva Las Vegas, viva Las Vegas. How I wish that there were more than 24 hours in the day. Even if there were 40 more, I wouldn't sleep a minute away. Oh, there's blackjack and poker and the roulette wheel, a fortune won and lost on every deal. All you need is a strong heart and a nerve of steel. Viva Las Vegas, viva Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas with your neon flashing and your one-armed bandits crashing all those hopes down the drain. Viva Las Vegas, turning day into nighttime, turning night into daytime. If you see it once, you'll never be the same again. I'm gonna keep on the run, I'm gonna have me some fun. If it costs me my very last dime, if I wind up broke, well, I'll always remember that I had a swing in time. I'm gonna give it everything I've got. Lady luck, please let the dice stay hot. Let me shoot a 7 with every shot. Viva Las Vegas, viva Las Vegas, viva Las Vegas, viva, viva Las Vegas.
Hey kids, tired of getting pushed around on the playground? Tired of getting your snack pack stolen? Don't want this to be you? Then take action. Don't waste time talking to parents or teachers, because that will only lead to continued beatings and torture. Instead, pay a 17-year-old to be your bodyguard, because 17-year-olds don't get jail time for beating up a minor. Remember, kids, believe in your dream.
Give me my smokes.
Smoking's bad for you, you know.
No, it's not. Try it.
Whoa, little bro. That smoke will make you choke.
It doesn't make me go.
Smoking is for dumbbots. It's bad for your health, and it stains your teeth. So don't be a fool. Smoking isn't cool.
Don't be afraid to say no. Anyone that asks you to use drugs is not your friend. Drugs can and will kill. Remember, don't be afraid to turn to your priest, your rabbi, your minister, your moms, your dads, your teachers, because drugs can kill. And if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die.